yarn that I found literally yesterday at Michael's, and I'm going to use this to make this balaclava. It's 8.5 ounces, 240 grams, and 760 yards, and it's 100% polyester. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our loop. So you're going to cross over. You're going to grab the yarn with your 2 fingers. You're going to pull it through. And now the loop is fairly big, so what I'm going to do is put my crochet hook on, and I'm going to pull the long end of the string. There's a short end. I'm going to pull it so that it can get tighter. And what I'm going to do is, in my previous balaclava tutorial, I mentioned to do 66 chains or 56 chains. But what you're going to do, especially if you're using interesting and unique yarn like this, you just want to make sure you're making enough chains that wrap around your head. Because if you just make enough chains that wrap around your neck, your balaclava is not going to be able to fit around your head when you're putting it on. So I know that I'm going to be around the area of 75 for this yarn. So I'm just going to do what fits around my head. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to make the chains fairly loose because we're going to be going back into them. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Basically, I just made 75 chains, and as you can see, that fits nicely around my head. It might be shorter or longer depending on what yarn you chose. Definitely, if I'm using this yarn, which is much thicker, I might just need to do 66, but for this yarn that is much smaller, much tighter, I might only be able to do, I have to do 75. And that's without pulling it, because if you pull it, it's gonna be different. So you want to make sure you're not pulling it, you're just wrapping it around your head to see if it fits. And definitely, if there is stretch, you'll know it fits. Okay? Once you have made all of your chains that you know is going to fit perfect for your balaclava around your head and everything, made a video on how to properly start this, but you're going to make sure that all of the braid side is facing towards you. So see, there's a little twist there, and I just brought it. I'm just going to go all the way along to make sure the braid side is facing towards me. Okay, got some twist out there, and now I'm at the end. I'm going to meet the 2 ends. Put my crochet hook under the 2 chains. Okay, and once I've done that, I'm going to make sure again that all the braid side is facing towards me, because if it's not, you're just going to end up with a lot of twists in the first row of your balaclava. So perfect. I know that mine is all well. I'm going to take the long string that is attached to my yarn ball. I'm going to wrap it around my hook, and I'm going to pull through 1, and I'm going to pull through 2. Okay? And once you have done that, we're going to head clockwise. So this is counterclockwise. We're going to be heading clockwise on this side. You're going to wrap the yarn around your hook. You're going to prepare to go clockwise. You're going to go into the next chain. You're going to go into that chain that you created under 2. You're going to grab that yarn, bring it forward. Wrap the yarn around, pull through 2, wrap that yarn around, and pull through 2. And that's my choice of stitch that I'm going for this video. You can choose a different stitch, so I'm going to do the same thing. Wrap my yarn around my crochet hook, and I'm going to go into the next chain, which is right here. You're going to grab your yarn, pull it forward, wrap it around, pull through 2, wrap it around, pull through 2. Okay, so now I have 2 stitches done on the row that on the chains that I just made, and I'm just going to continue doing that. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around, I'm going to go through the next chain, I'm going to grab that yarn, pull it forward, wrap it around my hook, pull through 2, wrap it around my hook, pull through 2. So now that I have completed 3, I'm just going to continue doing that. So wrap around, go into the next chain, wrap around, pull 2, wrap around, pull 2. I'm just going to continue going all the way around until all chains have the stitch. So this is us creating the first row. Now just make sure that your work is not twisting and turning. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to finish this first row, and then I'm going to meet back and tell you guys what is next. Okay, you're going to like what is next because it is super easy. I've completed my row and there are no twists or anything. Everything is right where it's supposed to be. And so I'm just going to show you guys how to close up this and then continue on with your balaclava. So what we're going to do is just make sure that we are closing the round properly. So as you can see, we still have 2 stitches. We don't want to jump and start a new one. We want to make sure that we're going the full round. Right, so I finished that off. And now that we've met with this side and this side again, don't worry about it being a bit lower and higher. That's going to be fixed at the end. But you're going to wrap your crochet hook around and you're literally going to go into those chains that you can see were made on the top. So I'm going to go inside. I'm going to put my crochet hook through. Okay, I'm going to bring that yarn forward, wrap it around, pull 2, wrap it around, pull 2, and I'm just going to continue going. Now we have to do many rows before we get to eye level, right? So what we want to make sure that we're doing is we know how many rows we have to do so that we don't do overwork or that we don't do underwork and then we're like, oh, we have to keep going, right? So what I would suggest that you need to do is, if we look at my previous balaclava, that there were quite a few rows before we had our opening. So let's count here. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rows previous before we opened this. Okay, so if you have a measuring tape, this is what I would suggest you to do. So you're going to take from this area of your nose, depending on what yarn you're using. If you're using a fluffier yarn, you're going to want to make sure that you're not doing it too high because your eyes don't want no fluff in it. So I'm just going to go from about here, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to here. Okay, so the balaclava is going to be this much roughly, and then you can just play around with what you want. So I'm going to say that my balaclava needs to be about 6.5 to 7 inches of this going up high. So once I've done enough rows for that, then I will be able to show you guys how we're going to make the opening for our eye area. Okay, so I'm going to go into my next stitches just like we have been doing for our previous row. We're going to keep going around and around and around until we make our balaclava 6.5 or 7 inches, however long you want this to be, however you want this to look on your face. So I'm going to meet you guys back when I have completed, me personally, either 6.5 or 7 inches. So have fun, keep going around, and we'll meet back after our 7 inches. So I have completed all of the rows needed. I know that it should be about 7 inches. I went a bit longer because I just felt like it needed to go a little bit longer for the style that I wanted to do. I am now facing the back of my balaclava. As you can see, this little tie that we started with is the back of the balaclava, and as you see right above it, a few rows above it, I have stopped right here. So now we are going to be doing the row that is going to be open for the eye. So I'm just actually going to show you guys what this looks like on me so far, and maybe you can see if this looks similar on you, so that I can make sure that we're on like the same page in terms of the length that we should be at right now. Pull the string out so that it doesn't get unloose while I'm trying this on. And you can see it already fits over my head because we measured to make sure it does. and I'm just gonna pull it here. So as you see, I have a lot of space at the bottom of my balaclava, and it grips on my nose fairly nicely. So if I want to be like right there. So this is where I am right now. This is where you should be with your balaclava. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to leave open the eye area. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna need about 2 rows for the eye opening. So from this area, we're just gonna pull our yarn so that it doesn't come out, and I'm gonna show you guys what to do next. So turn your balaclava over so that you're facing the front. So we know that this is the back, so we're gonna kind of put that in the center like so. Okay, that's pretty centered. And it doesn't have to be perfectly centered because that's not necessarily the main focus, but as long as it's sort of centered, you should be good to go. So now what you're going to do is we have to have an opening for our eyes, right? But we don't want it to be too wide where we're possibly showing our hair on the side. We just want this to be the opening for our eyes in a nice way. So exactly from my one eye to my other eye, it is 4 inches. So we can do maybe say 4.2 just to be safe and just know that the fabric isn't too close to our eye. So we're gonna actually have an opening of 4.2 just to be safe, okay? And we're gonna just try to make the center of 4.2, okay? So now let's see how many stitches we have on this side and see how that's gonna work for us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we do our 4.2 and see how many we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that means that we have to push down 1 stitch here. Okay, 11. And then we have our 1 here, and this should be 11 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Great. So this is the center of our balaclava. So what I'm going to do is, this is where the 4.2 mark was. I'm going to grab some yarn, or people use an actual marker for this. I'm going to use some extra yarn. I'm not going to tie it that tight. So this is our 1 marker. Feel free to use an actual marker, or if you don't have an actual marker like myself, you can just use some scraps of yarn or something that will tie around the yarn. Now, or here, so we just have to count to make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's this one. Okay. And I'm gonna tie my other marker, which is my more orangey yarn, there. So I know that I need to have this as the opening for my eyes to fit, okay? If I go a bit wider, it's just going to be wider for my eyes, but I'm going to try this look and see how it goes. So now that I have those 2 markers, I'm ready to flip my work back over to the back, okay? And I'm ready to pull that yarn that I made so that it doesn't come out. And I'm ready to go and head clockwise all the way till I reach my first marker right here. This marker is an indication that we need to stop because we need this area for the eyes. So once I hit here, I'm going to make my way back over, around, stop here, come back around, and so forth. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that next step because it's a bit different than how we have been doing for here. So we need to head here. We're going to need to come back here, but we don't want to have like a little mountain or a little slant in our work. So what we're going to need to do is this next stitch. So you're going to go into the stitch, go put your crochet hook through, you're going to grab your yarn, bring it through, bring it up, wrap the crochet hook, and then you're going to pull through. And now doing that stitch, it makes it not as tall as our regular stitch that we have been doing if you chose the same one as myself, because we don't want a slant. So we're making a smaller stitch so that when we go back, there's no slant changing, which would change the design. So I'm going to show you again. You're going to go in through that stitch, going to grab that yarn, wrap it around your hook, and pull through 2. Okay? So you're just going to do this all the way around. We're going to go through that last stitch there. I'm going to turn my work around. I'm going to turn my work around. Okay? And I'm going to be facing the inside of my balaclava. And we're going to go all the way around here, all the way around until I hit this marker, okay? Or we should have only one loop on our crochet hook. But what you're going to do is you're going to wrap the yarn around your crochet hook and you're going to pull through there, and that's just going to kind of create another loop so that it's easier for the stitch that we're working with, and then you're going to go right into the first, back into the first stitch there. Okay, and then you're going to do your regular stitch, which is go through, grab the yarn, wrap around, pull 2, wrap around, pull 2. Okay, our first row for our opening for our eyes, then I'm going to go like this. Okay, so I will meet you guys back once you have made it to your second marker there. So I'm going to go all the way here and I'm going to stop right here, and I'll meet you guys back when I'm at that point. Okay? Okay, so now guys, I'm at the orange second marker and I just have one more stitch for me to do, and now we have made it to that marker and there's no other stitches for me to go into. And you can see that we have now created a row and we have also created an opening. So what you're going to do, you can remove the markers. We don't need them anymore. Okay, you can save them for another project because it's good to have these or it's good to get some markers. It's up to you. Just going to quickly see if this fits well. And looky there. So now I know that the balaclava fits perfectly for my eyes and I am all ready to go. So I just made one little small change and I made it to be 16 stitches here instead of 15, just to have more space around my eyes. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going back around here, and once I get to here I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to actually chain over and close it so that we can finish off the top of the balaclava. So I'll meet you guys back when we are done this row and we have come back here, making it 2 rows, which is 1 and then another 1. Okay, hopefully you guys have made it to our second point. So that was, now we have 2 rows for our eye opening. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to close it. So that means we are going to attach this side back to this side so that we can finish and do the top of our balaclava. Okay, so we know that there's 16, so now we're just going to be making 16 chains. So you're going to go 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so I got my 16 chains, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go through the side. So I'm going to poke my crochet hook through and I'm going to wrap my yarn around and I'm going to pull it completely through, and there should only be 1 loop back on the crochet. We want the braid side, so everything's looking good there. At this point I usually start doing my decreases because this is going to start fitting my head. But now, because we just covered the eye pieces, I'm going to be doing 2 regular rows, and once I've done 2 regular rows, then I'm going to start the decreases. So what you're going to do is you're going to go all the way around, and once you get here I'll meet you back, because then we're going to go across these chains and then do another row and I'll show you. So first, the next step is to do your regular stitch, go all the way around, and once we get back here I'll show you how to do that. Okay guys, so now I have come back and now I am at the top here, and I'm ready to go onto the chains that I have just made, okay, to close off the balaclava. So what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna wrap the yarn around your crochet hook, and you're going to make sure that you have the chains facing towards you, the braided side of the chains, and you're just gonna go into the chains like we did when we first began. So you're just gonna go under the 2, grab the yarn, bring it forward, wrap around your loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, okay? And then you're going to do it again. And this is us just closing off the area that was for our eyes. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around the balaclava 1 and 2, and once we get back here at this mark, I'm going to show you guys what to do, because then we're going to need to start closing the balaclava for the top of it. So try on your balaclava, see where it's at, and then do the 2 rows, and then from there you can decide if you need another row before you close it off for your hairline and the rest of your head. Okay, so I'll see you guys back when. Hey guys, so I just want to show you like what mine is turning out to be like, and I want to tell you another thing. So I was saying once you get to there, start closing off, but you want to keep going until you get to about here with your balaclava. So I'll show you. Alright guys, so I tried on my balaclava and it's looking super sick. So I'm very happy with how it fits with my face, and I'm really happy with how the opening is. One. So I already did one, and then I'm going to do my second. And after I've done 2, I'm going to do a decrease. So what that means is I'm going to be skipping 1 and I'm going to be heading into the next. So I'm skipping that one and I'm going here. I'm going to put my crochet hook through. I'm going to pull the yarn back and I'm going to wrap around and pull 2. And we did the stitch earlier in the balaclava. And then now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do my full stitch 1, my full stitch 2, and then I'm going to do my decrease. Skip 1, go into the next, grab that yarn, pull it through, wrap around, pull 2. Then I'm going to do my regular stitch. Okay, so we're going to do this and continue to do this until we hit a very small circle on the top of our balaclava. So I'm going to continue doing this around. Do 2 regular stitches, do a decrease. Do 2 regular stitches, do a decrease. And as I keep going, and as you keep going as well, you're gonna come to when it's a very small circle. And once it's at this point, I will show you guys what to do, and then we're basically done our balaclava. Okay guys, so I have done it. Now it is very hard to do this because you just need to keep putting it on your head. So as I said, I did a regular row here, a regular row here, a regular row here, and then the 4th one I started to do the decreases. So it's 1, 2, a decrease, 1, 2, a decrease, and then I had to go back to doing it regular, so no decreases, because this, if I kept doing decreases, it would be too tight for my head and this would all get kind of messed up. So then I did regular stitches, and then I did regular stitches, regular stitches, regular stitches, regular stitches, and then close to the top, or close to the top here, I had to go back to doing decreases. So just keep trying it on to see how it is fitting on your head, because I can give you my measurements, but it may not fit your head, right? So I helped you to get all the way up here, I helped you to open this, but really doing the forehead, you have to continue to try it on. If you're making this for somebody, just make sure that you get their measurements, or if you are very confident that they have the same kind of shape head as you, then you can totally do the measurements that you would. So this is the circle size that I have, and basically you're going to put your yarn on your crochet hook, and what you're going to do is, instead of continuing doing decreases, so like a stitch, a decrease, I'm just going to like go across. Okay, I'm going to wrap my yarn around, and then I'm going to pull through 2. And then I'm going to kind of turn the hat and go this way across. Okay, make sure it's going there. I'm going to wrap around my yarn. I'm just going to pull through 2. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it this angle. You can kind of see it's already closed, but just anywhere that you see might be open. So I'm just going to go with this angle, going to go through, wrap around, pull through the 2, and then I think I see one more little angle there. I'm just going to go through here, wrap around my yarn and pull through, and voila, wrap around, pull through, and that is a finished balaclava. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to pull that yarn through, and then you're going to go from the inside of the hat. You're going to stick the crochet hook at the top of the hat, okay, closest to this yarn that you just cut, and you're going to bring that to the inside so that you can knot it off. So I'm just going to grab that yarn, grab that yarn, bring it through, and then I'm going to make my knot so that that doesn't come, right? We have this little tail. All we're going to do is go from this side through, grab it from the bottom, just going to bring it up. You're just going to bring it up. You're going to go from the inside of the hat, pull it back inside, and then you're just going to tie it off. So you're just going to find something to tie it off, and then voila. Okay, I'm just going to go like this, wrap it around, and pull through. Okay, so now that that is done and the top is done, the balaclava is complete.